I can't believe it didn't do it again. Like I was talking to some of the most, prestigious guys on the street, as well as some of the best active traders out there, who I really, I really respect. And we're like, is this going to happen again? Like, are they going to not let this go through 200 and sit there? I'm like, how friggin' easy is it to just, short in front of it? Like at some point, it's got to go through and and give a nice move. Like legitimately, if you look at the stock, or I don't know the stock, look at the stock, look at the chart. I'm sorry, I have a lot of people talking to me. I just want to cut it off. Um, Amazon's in the same place it was in 2020. Michael, can we go to the chart of Amazon?
Yeah.
I'll put it in. Hold on. So it's just very frustrating. It's going to happen. Like I was also kidding around with some of my friends, I'm like, why don't we just do this? Why don't we just put our entire account in Amazon and let's just go to Lake Tahoe. Let's go to Colombia. Let's go to Costa Rica and just not be here for 2 months. And I said to the virtual trading firm, like all 500 of us, let's go. Because if we all go, then it's not like I'm not doing my job providing value and tradable setups and the right things to do. We just all go. And I guarantee you, we probably make more money, being long for this eventual move through 200, 201. The problem is it's not really a problem, but it came up from down here, and then they had to do this before that, and now it's just choppy. Like I just real quickly before we go from here, this better not break 197. Now, if it breaks 197. I'm like, what do they want? Everyone in the world to hate trading Amazon because it's so bad as a trader. But I guess, institutions that have just been buying it, they must be ready to go too, because you look here. So this is the day chart. Right now you have a doji, you had a big move, not the end of the world. If it's special, it doesn't break 197. And I know the 8 days down here, but the bottom line goes sideways. And at some point, we probably break above this if we have some kind of president on Wednesday versus not. But then you go back to just say the weekly chart real quickly. Again, like this is where we are on the weekly chart, which I haven't really put up in a while. Legitimately, if you would have bought Amazon back in 2020 through this spot before it failed, now it's back here. This is choppy, this is sloppy. I haven't really updated this in a while. We're just you literally I don't even know what percentage this is. Maybe 10 in 4 years. You're not if you accumulated even for between 140 and 180, just say your average is 170, you're nowhere. So to me, it feels like it's time to go. Unfortunately, which is what I said on Fox Business a bunch of times. You have Jeff, who owns a lot of the float. You have Mackenzie, his ex-wife, that owns a lot of the float. I think they own 40% of the float. They're net sellers. And they split the stock and they're eating through it, but it's just taking its time. And I know for me, I felt like a little, a little dog on or a little mouse on a wheel. I bought 207 times today, and it added up. I'm down a decent amount of money today, and I'm a little pissed off about it. I'm like, I can't believe, they got me again at 200. Remember when it was here for 4 days? Everybody, first, this was a great trade. I remember in Amazon. This is what we were looking for. Up here, I remember we made a lot of money, and then I'm finally, all right, this is going, and then it failed. So now, how long is it going to have to stay here? So what I did is I bought 202.50 calls for next week, just in case it's waiting to see if we have an elected president, and whether it's Trump or Kamala, whoever it is. Kamala, I mean, Trump, it might be a little bit more market friendly. I don't know. I'm not talking politics. And I went out 2 more weeks to 2007 because I figured if this does. If you some guys hey, the measured move is 180 to 200. Some are no, it's not. It's 170 to 200. Some are no, it's 150 to 200. All I know is I would think in 3 months from now, this thing's at 225. Just a matter of how does it get there, and how much sleep are we going to lose, or how many times are we going to buy 200 and sell 198s until it happens?
Okay, so I'm mostly a long-term investor. I own Amazon, and it seems like a no-brainer from a long-term perspective. So if it's so aggravating, why trade it at all in the short term?
because we are active short-term traders. You know, it's like why go to a casino and look for in a hand an 11 versus 6 in blackjack and double down. You know, why look for a calculated plays? Like, we have to make money for a living. We need good setups. This feels like, again, like you said, you're an investor, Michael. If you were an investor and you bought Amazon at 185 4 years ago, how do you feel? It's at 199, 198. You could have bought Apple gazillion percent. You could have bought the S&P 10 times better. You bought Amazon because AWS, retail, same day delivery, Amazon Prime, blah, 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 blah. You're nowhere. So you're just as pissed off as I am. You know, so at this point, it's time for them to, you know, reward those who've been sitting here accumulating and waiting. My friend Scott, I'll say it to him, I'll send him the video. You know, he bought Amazon pre-split, like a 3,000. And yesterday I went to play bocce with him for Halloween, and he's like, Amazon, baby. I'm like, no. I'm like, let it get above 200. Let Jeff be done selling. And then at 225, you could say Amazon, baby, because then you made money. He's in the same spot he was pre-split. He's like, I'm finally, he bought it 2 more times, and he's not really a trader. He's an investor like you that might be a little bit more sophisticated because he's a retired market maker. But that there's a lot of people that have gotten no traction unless you have traded it perfectly, that are ready to be rewarded. And I think they are. I think within the next 3 to 6 months, this stock is 225 or more. So I'm trying not to just trade it wrong and spin myself around and figure out a way to make money there without, you know, pulling my hair out and making my forehead any bigger than it already is.
Yeah, it's funny. I actually went and looked it up. I bought it in February 2021 at $3,095, and it was aggravated. Basically, up until this year, it's.
Wait, so what is that adjusted for the split? So
it's up like I'm up like about 35%, which like isn't great over like 3 or 4 years. But the thing is, I never want to sell it. I want to own it 25 years from now. So shit.
Right. I just lost you. Hold on. Let me see. I can't hear you. Hold on a second. Let me put this on. Talk a little bit.
Oh, I muted myself. Whoops.
I don't know. I lost you. I lost.
Scott is muted too. I can't hear Scott
voice
for some reason.
You still seem like you're talking. Hold on. Yeah, leave the room and come back.
No, I think we're good now.
Hold on. Okay. I'm going to turn you off and on. Hold on.
No, we're good. We're good. We're back.
Can you hear both? Can't hear
Testing.
Mike. I can't hear Mike either. Let's see if anybody else in the chat can. You can hear Mike?
La 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 la.
Hold on. Let me try this one more time. 1 second.
All right. Okay, so yes. Hello, Mr. Redler. Scott.
All right, Michael. There you are.
What a miracle. The miracle of technology.
The miracle of technology. Apollo X says he could hear us. She says that. All right, everyone could hear. All right, I think we spent enough time on Amazon. Amazon, we both know, is just annoying. It is what it is. So what should we talk? Should we talk election? What I really think?
Yeah. Okay. So let's preface this with if you're out there in the audience and you're sensitive and you're going to be a crybaby, you have to leave right now. If you're going to be offended, you're not allowed in. You just need to go away. If you're easily offended, just get the hell out. We don't want anything to do with you. Okay, so shit. Scott, so I do think let's try to Scott, I'll let you choose how political you want to get. But
let's just talk like probabilities and outcomes and how I'm thinking about it versus who I want to be the next president.
Okay, all right. So I'll throw out a question to you. So I was talking to our good friend JR from the Momentum Express VTF. He thinks the market is underpricing the possibility of Harris winning. Because it does feel like there's the sort of MAGA 7, like Bitcoin and Tesla, those types of things have like done well lately. Do you think the market is basically too sure of a Trump victory?
The market is very like, it's funny you said that, because again, like I said, like I was joking around yesterday. So me and a bunch of my friends were playing bocce yesterday. It was beautiful out. I guess it's an old man sport, and there was like 8 of us, and all 2 guys from the hedge fund world, 1 guy in optics, 1 guy, they're all like very like 1% of the 1%. And I will say all of them besides one Trump, but I'm not saying that. That's not what I'm talking about. One of them, who's like a real like smart guy, very big time statistician, said that he heard from a friend of his that like 2 weeks ago, very 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 big money started to lay a lot of money on Trump in order to kind of have everyone think he was doing better than he was doing, and they think that they were long the Trump trade. A, long Bitcoin, like a lot of Bitcoin, and B, they were long DJT, and then they were we all know DJT was just at 54 and now it's below 30, and they were shorting into it. So they spent a lot of money to make the odds go towards Trump, to induce the Trump trade, to then take the opposite side, and nobody really knows what's really happening. Like, look, just go to DJT for a second. Look at this chart. So, so down here under accumulation, they were, the funny money was doing something, and then they were buying and betting on Trump and betting on Trump and betting on Trump and laying it around, and then Trump had this big run because everyone was shorted, and into this they were also shorting it, and look at the size of the move. So it's not assuring that Trump is going to be president. Do I want him to be president? To be honest, I don't really like Donald. I don't like Kamala. There's nothing I could do about who's running. Like, it's just, that's what it is. I do like Trump's policies, and I like strong borders. I like strong police. I like universities that kids can go to school and not protest and put people in harm's way. I like free enterprise and capitalism, and I also think women have a right for choice. But month 8th, 7th, or 8th, maybe you shouldn't be aborting a baby. You should have done that in the first 1 or 2, if God forbid something.
Okay, I'm going to jump right in. We're going to move on from these topics. Let's get back to DJT stock. Scott, what do you see?
I see that it's been erratic, and yeah. So here's, let's go to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a Trump trade, but also she actually supports Bitcoin also. Just because Trump said that they have taken a lot of Bitcoin from whoever the evildoers are, and they won't sell it. That made him all of a sudden like a Bitcoin guy, and he's very smart. He's also marketing to the Bitcoin individuals. There's a lot of them out there. A lot of them. A lot of asset allocators, even like this is the BlackRock ETF. They've been accumulating it, so everybody wants Bitcoin to do well. It's been in this 8-month range. We even came out with the Red Dog turkey trot. Maybe you could post it on October 11th, and this has been a great trade, and I'm hoping maybe it holds around here and goes again and makes another low, a higher low, higher low, higher lower in the midst of this. I'd hate to see all of a sudden this be the top end of the range and it come all the way down. So anyway, so they think Bitcoin has been on the move because Trump potentially might be a higher percentage play, but both of them are for crypto, and maybe one's more regulation, one's not. I don't know. But bottom line is, a lot of the supposed Trump trades have been on the move. And then Tesla. So let's talk Tesla. Let's talk Elon. Elon obviously is all in Trump, and basically his stock has been a laggard. His stock has not been great, right? It hasn't been. If you go to the weekly chart, everyone knows that I'm a pretty big. I love trading Tesla. Like, Tesla's why? Because when it trades awesome. When there's momentum, when there's chart patterns, I have Elon right here, right? Right now, he's, I took him off the wall for a second, but we had a really big play going into earnings. I've done this a bunch of times. I did this after the Cybertruck event, whatever. So he's all in Trump. So a lot of guys like, how are you playing for next week? I'm like, well, let's just look at the weekly chart for a second here. Right? I said that we can get to 270 post-election, meaning after if Trump got elected, and it went there pre-election. So it's great when something like that happens. Now, if you look at it, the size of this candle from last week, now it took back more than a third. If I wish, do you know how to put the retracement rules in here? I mean, the retracement levels in, Michael. Can you plug that in? I'm not sure. I've done it a bunch of times. Is it this right here? So if you take this and you go from here to here, right? So how much has it retraced?
From the 273 high?
Yeah, so from here, so basically if you do it like that, it's basically retraced almost a third.
About like
0.382%. What?
Yeah.
So that this is not a big deal. So in my head, if Trump wins and he wins like a decisive, like really wins, not saying I want him to, saying if he does, Elon has been his biggest supporter going out to all the events and this and that. Chances are whatever pro quo, I'm not saying he's getting any, pro quo moving forward with credits or, charging stations or whatever it is. The psychology is that he helped him and Tesla will be treated favorably. And if he's there, this should have another move. So for me, this is the recent high. This is 271, 273. It's pulled in here. So next week, if Donald Trump is president, I'm not saying I want him to, if he is, I would think that it should be above 270 and on its way to 300 to 312. So I think if you want to do a trade based on if Trump wins after a pullback to here, I am buying the 265 calls for that move. So if he doesn't win, Trump, which just say it is a surprise, that's going to lose. I'm not buying the stock. I'm buying options. Risk is premium paid. It's almost like a huge earnings, play. If Kamala wins, what everyone thinks is the first knee-jerk move will be if everything's lower. Everything. So that means, Trump, Tesla will be lower anyway. So if you take a different stock, if you take Apple or you take the SPYs, you take whatever, that'll be lower. This might be down more because all of a sudden now, if a different administration might not treat Elon as well because Elon went against them for however long. So I think that this is a good type of, high percentage play if Trump is elected. So I wouldn't have a false sense of security and just buy the stock. I would say, hey, buy. You can go out further and pay more of a premium, but I would say go out for next Friday or the Friday after and maybe you could buy the 265 calls, the 275 calls, the 280 calls, depending on how much you think the move is going to be. So that's one way. I think one thing, if you want to, have action, you don't always need action. You could just wait and see how the dust settles. You can have action that way. And then Amazon, we already spoke about. But if, so the talk is if Trump's elected, the knee-jerk move will be up. Who knows if they sell the up move? And they say if Kamala, the knee-jerk is down. But, it's not like the market's been so bad under the Biden administration. He's been in there for a while, and the stock market just had its biggest move since the October 2022 low. So chances are it's not going to really matter that much, to the market, unless both do their job and start to really reduce the deficit, which has been a huge problem. And that would probably cause a weaker economy because less jobs, less stimulus, less freebies, less whatever. So there will be a little pain first, which is what you're hearing, in order to clean up, the excessive spending that the government's been doing for however long.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'm looking at Tesla options prices for next week, and they are elevated, like they are a little more expensive than usual, but not by a huge amount. I mean, do you think
now here's a daily chart, by the way, by the way, this is a red dog reversal, right? I remember you had a big gap up. We put it on as a power play in here, sold, I think half or 25%, whatever it was. This was your red dog reversal into a prior high. And now you've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is at a 5-day pull-in into the elect. It's not like we're up here. So there's been a nice retracement to the 8-day. So even if there was no election and this was just up on the earnings, I would say, hey, this is something, if you think the market's going higher in the next month, that you should be looking at right around here for better action into November, December. And if Trump happens to win, it'll accelerate the move because it's just that's just it is what it is.
Okay, why don't we let's talk a broader market, because like we're still hovering pretty elevated. Some people are focusing on the VIX. What are you seeing here going in?
Well, it's what's the S&P up for the year? Are we still up like 20%? That's a big year. The average year is 7%, so we've already stolen from the entire year. So I know up here, we were trading a lot of off the bean path type of stocks. We were trading the nuclear stocks, the uranium stocks. We were playing a lot of really good stocks while Mag 7 wasn't doing great. The semis were rolling over. And then you had yesterday this big down move based on Microsoft and Meta. So at this point, my moving averages rules. When we're below the 8 and 20 one day, you're always a little tactical. Like I would say here-ish, I had like 16 longs on options. Now I have like 2 or 3 longs and options. So that shows that I'm a little bit more, hands off, because I don't know. I do think that this 565, 566 is a big area of support. That was our prior resistance that turns into support, right? That's a SR flip, however people say it. But then today, like what I did today is I shorted the 575 calls for like $1. I made that as a nice short instead of shorting the SPYs. And into this, I bought 565 puts just in case. Just in case on Wednesday there's no president. Just in case on Thursday it's still, it becomes a little anarchy. So I had to buy a little puts, but I didn't do it when it was really expensive here. I waited till this was like 575. And if you actually go, let's show the virtual trading floor for a second. Just because people are like, how do they follow your trades, Red Dog? So let's just show real quick. So I want to show them something from here. So this is the alpha team. This is what people who trade professionally for a living use to follow everything that I do. So I bought the SPY puts at 1026. So I didn't have it overnight. Like you could see what I had overnight. Like I had XBI overnight. So that's something you could see overnight. I traded Amazon. I traded, it shows all the different trades. I tried to buy a dip in DJT for the first time. It didn't work. I get out of it. I haven't tried to buy it since 10/17. So let me turn this off. Oh, Dan's. Oh, by the way, Dan's talking. Let's listen to Dan for a second. But anyway, so that's 1026. So you could see where. Let me turn this off.
We can't hear it, so we're good.
Oh, you can't hear. So this is how you connect the dots. So the SPYs, which are right here, right here's the SPYs. Let's go to the day chart because we use day charts right here. So if you go to the intraday, what time did I say? 1026. So 1026 was right around here. So the highs of the day, which was 575. That's where I said, hey, that could be a good spot because it costs less into a rally to put on puts for next week, just in case there's no president, Wednesday, Thursday, because chances are that would create some volatility. So with that being said, that I put it on, and then they get to see me put it on. That was in my note. We connected the dots, and we'll see. Plus, I also shorted premium that wound up paying me. I probably could have made more money shorting the SPYs at 575, which was where this prior area was. So it was good to know that. Instead, I shorted premium for like 70, 80 cents. It'll be a zero, and you can make money that way. And I started shorting at 575, and I wasn't worried about it when it went 50 more cents because I'm like, oh, I shorted for 80 cents at 575. That's 577.80. So that was the way that I did it. So anyway, now broadly speaking, back to the question, it seems like the active bulls that have been in control since September 11th, which has been a great active sequence, they're getting a little tested here. We're below the 8-21 day. We're above the 50-day. And we haven't been really below the 50-day for more than a day since early September. So this will be an interesting spot to watch next week, which we might even see it on Monday morning. If, right now this is turning into, a little bit of a bearish candle, but we'll see.
Okay, so I noticed in your positions you're definitely a lot lighter than you were, say, like 1 or 2 weeks ago. It looks like you were pretty heavy. So do you think, the market is up about 20% year to date. Do you think there's a chance, even let's say there's a clean Trump win, Do you think there's actually a chance of like a sell the news because the market's up so much this year?
It could be, but it could also, like, who knows if there's a clear cut Trump win on Tuesday into Wednesday, it could be a sell the news with the futures up 40 handles. I don't think if he wins, we're going to be down 40 handles and it'd be a total, surprise. So you'll have a chance to see whether it holds or not. But anything could always happen in the market. I remember when not one person thought Trump could win. Trump won. The futures were down like astronomical that night. I was on with Nate Silver. I was speaking for Schwab, which I'm going to be on Fox Business on Tuesday with my friend Liz Clayman. I'm on once a month. But and then all of a sudden everyone thought the world would end, and when we had an enormous rally, and if you shorted that rally because you didn't like Trump then or whatever, you thought the world was gonna end, you got your clock clean. So so sentiment is weird, and anything could always happen in any situation. So you just got to be a little careful. And when you have a S&P PE elevated, and when you have a market that's already been up 20% or so coming into November, you would think they want to protect the gains and show the statements and get paid for the year, but anything could always happen. Brian Schwartz says more the opposite if she somehow wins market tank. Yeah, if she wins, we'll start down 120 handles, maybe. Who knows? That's why I bought some puts today just in case. And but then and if it's a split, the House and Senate, then maybe it'll be viable. Maybe it'll be a better opportunity because it will be down 100 handles and you'll have the opportunity to buy it. Versus if Trump wins, you have to place that trade prior to the actual day. So either which way, if you're an investor, keep your monthly flows going in. If you have a 401k, do not sell based on what the election could be. I'm 52 years old. I don't even look at my statements. Look at them, but whatever happens, if we go down for 2 years like we did in 2007, 2008, which is not going to happen, by 2011 we're at all-time highs again. The pandemic, the world shut down in 2020. For 6 months we went lower, and then we were at new highs years after. So if you have a 401k, you don't trade stocks for a living, it doesn't really matter to you. Just keep putting your monthly flows in. The bull market will win. That's why we did that survival guide. Me and Mike, we got to give credit to Mike. He made these survival guides. And then if you want to post it, Mike, that'd be great. The survival guide of my 7 accounts. I'm 52 years old. I've been doing this for a long time. So as I do get paid quarterly and monthly for a living, so I could relate and make money. And I am also the chief strategic officer and founding partner. So I do have monthly flows that I could put into a 401k. So I could what's the word? I could be like anybody. I could be like a worker, and I could be like a trader, but I'm both. So I try and give you guys what I do that I started through life. So could you post this survival guide? I want to give it.
I posted it in the chat. Hold on, I will share it on the screen right now.
Okay. So basically, I go over people it's so hard to trade for a living. Nobody wants to do it anymore. Nobody knows how to do it anymore. Okay. Oh, no. I wanted to do the accounts.
Oh, the accounts.
This is the survival. These are the rules. These are like rules that I follow. The 8 and 21, what's it called? The accounts are like what I'm saying. Going to the election, one account amount, is more important than another depending on what it is. So let's see if we could find it.
All right, hold on.
So anyway, so what it is so in my trading world, I have an active account where I try and have in full cash. So this way, if there's an event and markets are down a lot, I could buy and make cash over the emotions based on what the chart's been doing on the daily chart. I have a swing account that if we're in a great market above the 821 day, I'm usually in a lot of positions trying to ride the tape. And then I have options accounts for earnings and elections and for binary events, and then a box that does it. So those are the 4 accounts that I'm trying to help people coach and go with. If you've been a trader for like a year, chances are you might only have an active day trading account. Like if you've been trading for a year, you can't have a swing account because you don't know how to do it. You need to learn how to make money every day, $100, $200, $1,000, whatever it is. For everyone it's different. So you have to have an active account. It may be after you've been trading for a living for 2 years, you ask your risk monitor, your risk guy or the firm, and you say, hey, can I have a swing account? Because I just don't want to day trade. I want to hold things that are trending because so much stuff happens overnight. So then you have an active and a swing. And then if you are that consistent and you're making good money and you want to leverage that, they might have a computer algo system that could box it. And then an options account is totally separate. So if you don't want to hold, which you never should, into earnings, or you want to play an event that risk is premium paid, you have that. So I have all 4 of these working at once because I've been doing this for 30 years. This is how I generate cash flow quarterly. Some of you guys do it monthly because maybe you're not a chief strategic officer or a founding partner where you're like, hey, they want to pay you monthly. I do it quarterly, so I give things more room. So anyway, that is my T3 4 accounts. You might have to start with just this, but if you've been trading for over 10 years, you should have all 4. And then here, if you don't, just say you don't trade for a living and you follow me just for some stock, just for like what's in play, where are the sectors, what's going on. I have on my regular side that if I left T3 tomorrow, they can't touch, just saying, or if you were a doctor or a lawyer or whatever, I have a 401k, which T3 does have. If Mike, are you a part of the T3 401k?
Fuck yes, of course.
Okay, so T3 matches it because we're a great company, thanks to management, and it adds up. So I max it out. If you're working at Dell or you're working at GE, if you have a 401k and you're 27 years old, max that 401k out. Okay, because it adds up over time, usually 7%. I know we're up 20% plus. It's a big year. Let's go back to that for a second, Mikey. So the 401k, max that bad boy out. So the next thing is, 529 plan. My son Chase, he's a sophomore. So I started his 529 when he was 5. I should have done it at 0, and it has 6 figures in there, but not enough. Average college cost is like 50, 60, 70, 80,000. But anyway, so do that. So that's another. So I have the Blood in the Street account, which has turned into a great account for people to match all around the world. Instead of when markets are in turmoil and they tell everybody they need to sell, that's when I'm usually buying tier 1. We're probably down 5-7% off the highs. What happened was my wife worked at UMDNJ, a trauma center. She had a 401k, and it was at 6 figures when she decided to go into private practice and leave and make a lot less. I hope she's not watching. And then I had to pay for insurance instead of her getting insurance, which was not easy, but you go with it. She wanted her dream of a private practice, which she has. Congratulations. She did a great job with Chase and doing everything. But anyway, so it turned into when she left, you couldn't put flows in anymore. And it was like 2012, right after a huge rally off the financial crisis. I'm like, we got to put that in a fixed rider. And it stayed there until 2018. And then I've put it to work 17 times, usually when the oscillator is minus 80, usually when we're down 5-6%, and then I go every 4-5%. It's only gone in 3-4 times. So like right now, this is my Blood in the Street account is sitting in all cash, a fixed rider. My 401k is fully invested. And then she also has a 403b, which is like a 401k where she puts $300 a month. If you have a private business, you could do that. And then life insurance real quickly. My buddy, he left. He went to go work for a life insurance company when I was 35. He's like, Red Dog, you need life insurance. Chase is 3 and da-da-da-da. I'm like, that's a lot of money. He's like, sacrifice. So anyway, put $1,500 a month since I'm 35. I'm 52. At 55, I'll be in there 20 years. The cash value is really big. My death value is up there. So when I had my heart surgery, people are like, you worried? I'm like, well, I did what I had to do. I'm worth a lot more dead than alive. But anyway, whole life, people say, oh, it costs a lot. And in the beginning, the insurance guy makes a lot of money, but it doesn't really matter. But anyway, so these are all the things that I've learned and sacrificed and put together through my life. And that is like a one-pager where you got to figure out where you fall and start somewhere. If you're 40 years old, like, oh, shit, I don't have a 401k, or you have a kid. Oh, my God, he's 9. I don't have a 529. I hope they forgive his debt someday. No, start at 529. So that's that sheet. And we'll do the survival guide for trading another time. But basically, I don't know how we got on the subject, but I want to go over this anyway because I feel like this is really important. And like sometimes, we talk about all these trades that are working and you're not in one or you're not in the other, and there's like FOMO. I'm like, they say, oh, you can't kiss all the babies, or you can't be in everything. So you might not have all these, but start somewhere.
Yeah, I think people make the mistake of, especially with young people, thinking they have to do everything perfectly, and they're so afraid of making a mistake, they do absolutely nothing.
Right. Like I'm at 5, I'm like Chase, I want him to be a basketball player, lacrosse player, but like college, I'm like, I got to start putting money away. I started only with $500 a month, and now, during the pandemic, I started to go to $1,000 a month because we just pulled in. I'm like, Now I could play catch up. Actually, we didn't start a 401k at T3 until 2017-ish. And I've been working there as an equity partner since 2008-ish. So I wasn't like, oh, well, I'm 40 something years old. My equity is going to get me rich. I was like, no, you know what? I'm going to put in the 401k. Now here we are 7 years later. I'm like, that's a lot of money. So, it's never too late to start, like Mike said, on anything. Then there's no perfect time. Same way there's no perfect time to get married. Oh, I want to get married when I've heard that, like, because I'm like, a lot of my friends' kids are all in that stage, right? I don't want to get married until I'm making this, or I don't want to get married until that, or I don't want to have a kid until I have a house, or I don't just, if it feels right, do it. There's never a right time to get married, to have a kid, to start any of these things. Do it when you want to do it, because life's too short and you never know when your number's going to be called. So make sure you do what you want to do, as long as it's calculated and smart.
Yeah, it's Scott Redler's best trading advice. If it feels good, do it.
If it feels good, have a baby.
Okay, all right. So since we're talking about this long-term perspective, we have to remember I don't know how many charts we've made of, like, I think the Brexit might have been the first one, how it's like,
Right.
Every time people think it's the end of the world, it turns out to be, a massive opportunity. Like, we had the Brexit, the 2016 election. I don't know how many debt ceilings. How many times has the government closed down? It's like 1 million times every election, Congress, Senate, the pandemic, every rain. I don't know how many times. Remember when people used to talk about the yield curve?
Right. Or
Like,
what about when the Mayans called the world ending in like 2000 something, and then when Brexit, yeah, like you said, like or what about the pigs of Europe? That was going to end. Bottom line is, the world's not going to end. If the world ends, it doesn't matter. You're done. You're gone. You're not going to, no clue. So bottom line is, the world's going to end is in a trading plan. It's what are you going to do if we get into a corrective stage? What are we going to do if you get into a bear market? What are you going to do? Is you're going to stay the damn course, and you're going to put money in. It's going to help your average cost. And then, bad times lead to good times. Like the other day, I was in my ice barrel, and I was like, I don't know. I heard a video, and I was, I'm like, good times lead to weak men or weak women. Weak people lead to weak times, and then, then weak times lead to strong people, and strong people lead to better times. Things are pretty damn cushy. So, not a lot of people know when times are bad. Like they say, what's the difference between a recession and depression? A recession is, I don't even know what the definition is anymore. 2 negative GDPs, whatever. Depression is if you lost your job. But if you have a job during a recession, it's not so bad. But anyway, bottom line is, do what you could do. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you could afford $300 a month, put $300 a month away. If you could afford $500 a month, put $500. If you could afford $100, just do what you could do. Same way with trading. It's like, don't have FOMO. If you don't like taking overnights, don't take overnights. If you feel like you're missing out on overnights, do it small. If you want to play earnings, don't throw things against the wall. Do some kind of option strategy. If you don't feel comfortable playing, or being involved for the election, then don't do it. But then you can't be upset if there's a huge move either which way and you thought it was going to be a certain way. So whatever you're going to do, you have to learn by trying it. You don't learn by watching. Like, life isn't a spectator sport. Like, life is life. Like, get involved, and then once you're involved, stack days. What they say, like, a belief is only a belief until, or a goal and a vision is nothing until you put a plan to it. So what's the plan for you to get to where you want to be? How do you grow as a trader? How do you grow as a parent? You grow by changing your behavior in the direction of whatever that is for you. So at this point, next week is a volatile week. A lot could happen. Trump could get elected, Kamala can get elected, or we might not have a president for a bunch of days. So do what you could do based on your risk tolerance. But long term, again, every month, it doesn't matter. If you trade for a living, October is done, and you want to next week start the month with a grand slam, it might start yourself out in a big hole, and big holes are not fun to dig out of. It could be done. You could dig out of holes. I dug out of a hole too. We talked about that late August into early September, but those aren't fun. So if you don't want to, if you'd rather not flip a coin or do some calculated, option trades based on the outcomes, then just sit and let the dust settle, and then Wait till we're in a sequence where it's methodical. I don't love earnings season. I like when we're in a sequence. I made my most money. If you look here, if you go back to the chart of the SPYs, from this little time on is where I started to make my money, because we were back above the 8-day. We stayed above the 8-day. We held the 21-day, and we just had a nice methodical move. We weren't we weren't in earnings season. Stocks weren't gapping up or gapping down based on the mood. This and that. And now we're back into a mode where it's hard to tell what's next over the next week or 2 to 3 weeks. So, that's why I've reduced my risk. I've gone from like a big portfolio approach to a little bit more tactical, and I'm going to try and make sure that I'm not upset about missing things.
Okay, well, let's throw a question out to the audience. So what do you guys think happened next week? Who wins the election? Does the world come to an end? I'm going to make a bold prediction. I think the market's going to be flat next week. I think we're going to have a quick move. It's going to be a crazy overnight, and then we're going to end up back where we started. But let us know in the chat.
That wouldn't be so bad. Just get it out of the way. Let's do it. Get it out of the way.
Yeah. Okay.
What does it say? D. Martin says Harris. Okay.
Scott, what do you think of this news about 24-hour trading? Like Robinhood, I think some of the other like online brokers, they're like everybody's rolling out 24-hour stock trading. Brian Schwartz says Trump, but Democrats will find a way to contest. Nimish says Harris. It says Trump.
Well, whatever it is, I hope it's a wide margin, so there's no contesting anything. Like, just let it be done, and there's no way it could have been Fugazi, and move on. I'd love to just move on, not be flapping in the wind.
I can't believe Ultra MAGA Rick is not on the stream today. Ultra MAGA Rick is here almost every week making trouble. I can't believe he's not here. That's not a good sign. Okay, but one way or another, Scott, I think you'll agree.
What did you just ask me before that? Did you just said something before that? That was a good question. Remember?
I think it was. Do you think we just end up where we started? Was that it?
No, that was your prediction.
Let's
see. Anybody watching?
I don't remember. I don't remember. Does anybody remember what I just asked? Okay, I'll ask you. Okay, Scott, do you know that Terminator 2 is streaming free on YouTube right now? I think people should go watch that.
Who's going to wait? No, what about Gladiator 2? I saw some. Is that in the movies or is that online?
I don't know. It looks horrible. I don't know what the hell do they have like.
It looks like it's a repeat, but it's like not. I don't know. I'm gonna watch it because Gladiator was one of my favorite movies, and there hasn't been a good movie since I don't know, since I guess Top Gun the remake came out, or in like Creed 17. But I think I want to see that. But I really don't remember. What was your question? Oh, 24-hour trading.
Yeah. Thank you. You win a prize.
Jared,
thank you.
Give him something. Give him Brother All Access for like 3 months. Anyway, what do I think about that? You know what? You could trade futures all night long, and I don't do it just because I'm up at 4:45, and when I leave at 5 o'clock, it's like I kind of look, but I kind of turn it off and say, you know what? I'm in these things for a reason. And yes, it's good to be in control during the day because you could change and have stops and do things when things change. But it'll make it a little bit more complicated. I don't think traders should expand their hours. Figure out what you can handle, what your bandwidth is. I know for me, I don't trade futures because I can't be up all night stressful and worried about what's happening, trading what's happening until 12 at night and then get up at 4:45. It's just, you'll same way at lunch, I go to the gym, I put my stops in and excuse me, what just happened? Hold on.
In the market?
Yes, I think Amazon just broke, the bastard. 197.50 almost.
All right, Scott, no foul language on these streams, but yeah, Amazon did break a little bit. So Scott, do you ever check your phone in the middle of the night? Do you ever get up to pee and let me see what's going on right now? Like what's happening in China or anything?
No, I said that in the last thing that we did with my game plan. It's like, you shouldn't really have your phone upstairs. A lot of guys that I listen to and I respect are like, your phone should be, away from your bed. Like, go to sleep, rest your mind, and you should wake up and not look at your phone. You should wait 15, 20 minutes because your mind needs time to wake up. Like, your mood and your psyche is dictated by your first part of the day. So if all of a sudden you're long a lot and you look and the futures are down 25, as soon as you wake up, like, oh crap, and then your whole day is set off. So what I do is I keep the phone away from, so this way when I'm sleeping, there's nothing I could do. There's nothing I could do at night while I'm resting, getting ready for the next day. So there's no reason to check what's happening, because a lot could also happen in the morning anyway. So what I would suggest is you keep your phone downstairs. What I do is I wake up, I have a big glass of water to wash my system down. Okay, then I turn the sauna on. Okay, then I let Cadence out. Then I give Cadence some food and some water. Then I put the coffee on, and then I let her in, and then I give her a biscuit. Then I sit down, and I drink some coffee, and by that point, it's already 15, 20 minutes. Then I turn my phone on, and I'm like, okay, where are we at? Okay, and then after I see where we're at, I check what's going on in Europe. I check what's going on in Asia. I see what the futures are doing. And then I do a bunch of tweets. I say good morning to everybody on Twitter. You usually see rise and grind, because that's what we do every day. We rise and grind. And then, but all of a sudden now I've been up from 4:45 to 5:30 or 5:20. Then I go in the sauna, and at that point I set up for 20 minutes. And then I think about, okay, this is where the futures are. This is what I have on. This is what I'm going to do if that happens. That's what I'm going to do if this happens. And I formulate my plan in my head as I'm in the sauna, sweating, meditating, listening to some motivating speeches. So I'm getting my mind right. I'm role playing in my head. Then I go from the sauna, I walk outside to my ice barrel, and I cool off in the ice barrel. No matter what day it is, what degrees it is, I go in. That's my go time. I train my brain to do things that might not feel the best, but they feel amazing after. And then by that point, it's already 6 o'clock. Get in the car, stop at 7-Eleven to say hello to Pinky and Mikey from 7-Eleven. They give me my iced coffee, and then I'm here by 6:20 to do the 6:30 club. But by no means, I don't think it's good, and I do not think you should be having your phone and checking your phone all night long. It's not going to be restful sleep.
Remember the old days when you could just like call somebody and say, let's meet at this place at this time, and that was it?
I still meet, you can still call me people. What do you mean?
Yeah, no, I mean, but do you remember what it was like making plans and doing things like before phones? It's before smartphones. It's like,
before smart. Yeah, well, you mean the rotary, and then the busy signal. Burr, burr, burr. I think you're too young you never heard a busy signal in your life, have you?
I'm 46.
Okay, I'm 52. All right, so you've heard a busy signal.
Yeah,
so
I grew up with.
So you were around before call waiting.
Oh yeah, dial-up internet. Yeah, busy signals, all that stuff. And I
right. Or it's more like what you're asking is like if you're single, which I'm not single, going up into a place and saying hi and introducing yourself and starting conversation versus swiping. Did you ever swipe anything, Michael?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, there you go. I missed that whole thing, which I'm happy about. I'm very happily married. I love Chase, but I wasn't around for JDate or all those sites. And I hear it's it could be fun, but get out and meet people and be active and be social. The same thing's happening now. I think in like kind of in business now, individuals are actually like trying to go back to the office, and I think there's a lot of good stuff that happens with collaboration. I know when me and Mike are sitting in T3 in the city, we get a lot of stuff done. We think about things we could do, videos we could make, content we could provide, versus me being in Short Hills, sitting here in the sauna, and him being there. So I would say is if you feel like you're getting a little stale, because you're still like in your house 2 days a week or whatever, get the hell out of your house, get social, see people, have fun, get fresh air, and just change some things. If you want a different outcome, you have to change your behavior. So change your behavior to get a better outcome. That's what we're going to leave you with, because now it's 3:55 and I got to trade the close.
All right. Okay, Scott. As always, lots of fun. All right,
I love
Scott,
you.
You're kicked out. Okay, guys, if you want Scott's free newsletter, go to t3live.com/show, t3live.com/show. It's 2 days a week, and it's totally free. Everybody have an amazing weekend.